Hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining day two of our webinar series, Minding Your Benefits. This is a fantastic time for you to start looking at your benefits. This time of year typically is when people get into open enrollment. And so I am Jasmine Smalls. I'm a certified financial planner and have worked with thousands, literally thousands of people and help them navigate when it comes to setting up retirement plans, help them navigate with saving and building wealth, whether it be getting out of debt, building an emergency fund, all the way up to actually creating assets that they can pass on to their legacy and doing it strategically. And so I'll hand it over to Dr. Thelá and allow her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Jasmine. It's always so wonderful seeing you and working with you. My name is Dr. Thelá Thatch. I am the CEO, Chief Equity Officer of Thelá Thatch Consulting, and we are a full-service boutique human resources firm. So I've had over 25 years in human resources, doing everything from hire to retire. And today we're going to talk about benefits. And benefits is just one of the many things that we do as HR people. And I just wanted to, this is the season. This is everybody's walking in their season, and this is the season for benefits. Typically, this is the time where we focus on our benefits and prepare for next year. We can almost call it harvest season, huh, Jasmine? I've been thinking about that.
Yes.
Get ready for the harvest.
Get ready for the harvest. I love that because it is harvest season, technically
Yes,
and
that's true.
figuratively. Exactly.
So minding your business, instead, mind your benefits. And so I'll jump in really briefly, and then I have some questions and actually for Jasmine. And I get this all the time as a human resources person. How do you choose the right healthcare benefits? And the truth of the matter is, as a human resources professional, I cannot choose those benefits for you. So I've had so many employees come up to me and they're like, what should I pick? What should I do? Should I get an HMO? Should I pick Aetna? Should I pick Kaiser, excuse me, not Kaiser, Kaiser. And honestly, we can't tell you what to pick, but we can tell you how to think about choosing your benefits plan. So first of all, you need to know there's three types of plans. There's HMO, which is a health maintenance organization. Then there's PPO, which is a preferred provider organization. And then there's HDHP, which is a high deductible health plan. So I'm going to start with HMO. Typically, I'll just speak for myself. HMO was perfect for me when I was first starting off my family. We were very, very healthy. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have, a need to have surgery or go to the doctor all the time because the HMO generally has lower premiums and lower out-of-pocket costs, and they have fixed co-pays for visits and prescriptions, which means you can budget. Like you're expecting to go to the doctor and pay literally $20 or $50, right? And so HMOs are typically what all I could, not always the case because again, we can't tell you what to pick, but typically younger families with little or no health issues can benefit from an HMO because it requires you to stay within a certain healthcare provider network and certain outside networks that people who may be going through difficult, complicated health issues, they may have to go to specialists, they may have to go to different doctors that are very expensive. Those people would want a PPO. And so a PPO offers that's preferred provider organization, and they typically cost more money, period. So they offer more flexibility to see the providers you need to see, not just inside your network, but also outside of the network. And drum roll, you don't need a referral. So a lot of times in an HMO, you need a referral. You got to get permission to go to certain doctors, or else you pay the full fee. And so those are the two main ones, HMO and PPO. And then there's the high deductible health plan, which is a HDHP, and it can be structured as an HMO or PPO, but has a really, really high deductible, which is why it's called the high deductible health plan. So I wanted Jasmine to jump in there to tell me and tell us what she knows about high deductible health plans?
Yes, so high deductible health plans, similar to Thiele's story, is my personal preference because I am someone who is healthy. I am single at the moment with no children. And so for me, a high deductible health plan made sense because I don't really go to the doctor often outside of my routine maintenance checkups. And so also with high deductible health plans, you do sometimes have your employer put money into an HSA, which we will get more into about the difference of an HSA, which is a health savings account, versus an FSA, a flexible spending account. But in order to actually utilize an HSA, you have to have a high deductible health plan. It's one of the requirements in order to be able to actually use an HSA. And so for me, I was in a place where I was getting some employer funds put into my HSA. And also, I was able to max it out every year. And so it wasn't strictly for healthcare. For me, it's also more of a longevity play, as I like to call it, because my money is able to be invested within that HSA account. And at the same time, I have coverage. And so it was kind of dual for me with choosing that high deductible health plan. So of course you get coverage, but you do have a high deductible. Now, I want to be clear. So it's typically the highest deductible out of all of them. And so you do want to make sure that you do have funds set aside to cover that.
So, Jasmine, what would you say to people who are like, and I hear this all the time from employees, and they're just like, give me the basics. I can't afford a high deductible. And actually, high deductible scares me. I don't want that. So, what would you say to that?
Well, so one of the things I would definitely ask are,
Mhm.
what's your health look like, right? Because if you are someone who's going to the doctor often, then a high deductible health plan may not, it's probably not the best for you. Like you said, more of the PPO route would be better. And so it's that trade-off because yes, your deductible is higher, but typically your premium is lower. And so it's that trade off between which one actually makes the most sense for you. Like I said, if you are a younger person or just in good health, you can lean more to that high deductible. And also, if you have those resources to put that money aside in something like an HSA, so you may not be paying as much in your premium, but it is still wise to make sure you're putting money away to actually cover that high deductible. So that would be my main question. What does your health look like?
Right.
And do you foresee surgeries coming up and things like that? And then also, do you have the resources to cover that deductible?
Okay. I think that's a really good segue into preventive care because, I mean, we never foresee or hope to get sick. So, what's one of the main things that benefits does that a lot of people miss out on is helping us prevent illness, helping us prevent sickness. And so, most HMOs, PPOs, all of the above healthcare plans have kind of an annual checkup feature that's included in the plan. And that's one big way that you can make sure that you are practicing preventive care. It's really important to manage your preventive care. And you're really, by doing that, you're taking advantage of the money that you're paying into your benefits. So what you want to do is review your health plan's preventive services. And so most health insurance plans, especially under the Affordable Care Act, which we'll talk about another time, but you know it most likely as Obamacare. Because of that, it covers a range of preventive services at no extra cost when delivered by the in-network providers. And so these include annual physical exams, vaccinations, screenings like blood pressure, cholesterol, cancer screenings, and women's health services like mammograms, pap smears, prenatal care. So think about all of the different health issues you can prevent, for example, by going for your annual mammogram, excuse me. And so you don't want to get to a place where you feel a lump or you feel something wrong and it's 3 years later and now you're in treatment. You want to prevent the treatment by using your health plan for preventive services. So I hope that makes sense. What do you think, Jasmine?
It does. And I also wanted to add, with employers now, you can start to get benefits around actually taking advantage of preventative care. I know some employers incentivize their employees for going to the gym. They
Mhm.
incentivize their employees for, like you said, getting these routine checkups or not smoking or those type things that they know do help with overall health in the long run. And so that can also be a piece while we're in this open enrollment season to check with your benefits team to see if there are any incentives. I know my mom actually, I'm telling her business, but she signed up through her health plan. She actually was able to get free access to a personal trainer. And so she took advantage of that. And so I know maybe those type benefits, or even through your health plan, you can get access to um, therapists. And so that
Mhm.
preventative care does go beyond just some of the things that I feel like we typically think about, because these health companies and your employers really do want to keep you around. So
I appreciate that so much. I actually went to one of those new biomed spas where they give you the laser, well, infrared treatment or whatever to help you get rid of cellulite and all that. And I was so shocked because I was able to use my health savings account card. So the treatment, the process was like close to $500. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, snap. But if I had like $4,000 at the time on my HSA. So I was a they were because they give you when they and we're going to talk about HSAs next, health savings account, but they'll give you a little Visa card. And so I was
Yeah.
like, well, let's try this HSA first. And then I tried it and it worked. So a lot of times if you do have health savings accounts, which we're going to talk about now, um, just give them, try it. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is they'll say they don't accept it, but you should be able to use that for anything medical related, anything health related. And so I'm going to tell you what a health savings account is. And so basically, a health savings account is, like Jasmine was saying, only available to individuals enrolled in a high deductible health plan. And so what happens is you get to create a pot of funds that can be invested in potentially growing tax-free over time. So I'll let Jasmine talk about that. That's her specialty. But what I know, the HSA is a special, like, little pot of money set aside that can be used to help pay for healthcare costs. It can help pay for co-payments, prescription drugs, appointments, all of those different things. And so it helps you save money because that money, instead of using your like regular bank account when you go to pay for something, it's being used with pre-tax dollars. So is there anything you want to add about HSAs?
Yes. So an HSA in the finance world is the creme de la creme, because when it comes to investing, taxes is something that you have to think about, right? So with HSAs, as Dr. Thelá mentioned, you don't pay taxes on the money when it goes in. It's able to grow tax free. And as long as your money goes towards qualified healthcare expenses, let me preface that, qualified healthcare expenses, then you are able to actually, you don't have to worry about paying taxes on that at that time either. And so with HSA accounts, I personally love them because it is a way for you to put your money aside. It can actually be invested as well. And so as it's sitting there, it has that ability to grow and get that compound growth. I will say, this is a personal strategy since I mentioned it that I incorporate. I typically have enough within my HSA that's in cash to cover the deductible. So as I mentioned, that high deductible health plan, you do want to keep some of it liquid. So let's say your high deductible is $3,000. So having $3,000 in cash, so if something were to come up, you actually have the money to cover it. But then the rest, you can invest it. You can utilize that market and that compounding growth to grow your money and multiply it. And so that is a strategy of the HSA. And so for me, and a lot of people, that is also a longer term growth strategy that you can use into retirement, because the HSA account, as Dr. Thelá mentioned, can be used towards healthcare expenses, even including Medicare.
Hmm.
So, and I also wanted to mention for us ladies, it can actually be used towards menstrual items. So, like pads and tampons. I always like to mention that just because, those things can add up.
That's really great. I didn't even know that, honestly. I never thought about it that way. And I wish I would have thought about it that way um, when I was younger, let's just say. So you save a ton of money, but you can still get your Midol, your Advil, and I'm definitely not promoting any of those things. But yeah, great, great, great. Yeah, I've had times where I had my HSA and I picked up a bunch of stuff from like a CVS, and I was able to just pay for everything I picked up, including like potato chips. So they don't say, oh no, typically in my experience, and I know that may not be legal, but
I
in
was gonna say, Dr. Thiele, hold on.
let me
Twice.
just say, if you throw a little potato chips in there, it's supposed to help you with salt cravings.
Don't do that. Y'all don't do that. Because if you're ever audited, that's
Yeah,
why they are very specific to say qualified medical expenses.
okay. I don't put in the potato chips.
Because
I'm just saying, I did.
well, no, I actually appreciate you sharing that because I did want to mention with HSAs, like Dr. Thiele said, they just give you a debit card, right? And it's a pot of money. And so your card is going to work, it's going to go through. But that's why it's so important to actually do your own audit to make sure what you paid for was actually qualified expenses. And
Right.
so, co-pays, even chiropractors, things like that can be covered with an HSA. The list of it is expansive. I don't believe over-the-counter drugs are. I have to double. They
Yeah,
are.
over-the-counter drugs are included. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
like Tylenol, Advil, Midol. You may even have,
Okay.
certain Pepto-Bismol. Yeah, as long as it's
Okay.
medical, health related.
Okay.
That's why I was trying to squeeze in the potato chips. When you're
Okay.
going through something, you need a bag of potato chips. That is for mental health.
And the other thing is with HSAs, I know we've spent a lot of time on this, but personally, I know, like I said, I love them, but that money goes with you. So that's the other thing with HSAs. So although you're building that account through your employer, when you leave, that money actually you keep. So it goes with you
Yeah. So
versus like,
oh, go ahead.
oh,
I'm so sorry. Keep going. I just want to say what
oh
that's
no, I was going to
called.
say
That's called
versus.
being portable.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's portable. It's portable. So you can actually take it with you. It's not tied to your employer in that way. Versus flexible spending accounts, those type of accounts are also geared towards healthcare expenses, but every year, essentially, it's either what is it called?
Use
You
it or
use it or
lose
lose
it.
it. You
Yeah.
use it or lose it. So
Mm,
these type of accounts also, when you leave your employer, that account, that money essentially just stays with your employer that you put in your flexible spending account. I'll tell my personal story really quick. So I was working for a bank and I didn't realize, so I would put money into my flexible spending account. I actually just put enough to cover my therapy sessions that I was going to. So
okay.
I could get the tax benefit. And so I was putting money away and I ended up leaving that employer and I still had the card. So I was thinking, I was like, oh, well, I can still use the money that I know I put in the account because I still have the card. And then I went to go pay for my therapy session and I was, of course, declined because I was no longer at that employer. And the employer kept the money that I had in that account because it is truly a use it or lose it situation. So not only do you have to use it within that year, but if you are someone who is transitioning to another employer, self employment, you're deciding to separate, you want to keep that in mind too.
Okay. Well, we have a question in the chat. And the question is, if my employer offers both HSA and FSA options, can I enroll in both? So the answer is generally no, because they both offer pre-tax dollars. And you cannot use both a health savings account and a standard flexible savings account simultaneously due to IRS rules, as both accounts offer tax advantages for medical expenses and are usually tied to different types of health plans. However, there is an exception with the limited purpose FSA exception as the LPFSA, and we don't talk about that too much in the workplace because, of course, it's confusing. But if you have an
Yes.
HSA, you can still use a specific type of FSA. And so this arrangement will allow you to maximize tax advantage savings for medical expenses while keeping your HSA funds untouched for potential growth or other medical costs. So that's an excellent question. That's great. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Jasmine?
No, I just echo what you said. Typically, and you can't do both because they are tied to different health plans. And also, as you mentioned, the IRS does have rules around it. As we mentioned last session yesterday, the IRS, typically when they do offer some type of incentive, they create guardrails around it. And
Yeah.
so, but like you said, there are exceptions. You don't really see that very often at all. But there is that exception to where you could possibly do both.
I love that. I mean, I don't love the IRS part, but I love the part where you can use the FSA and HSA. And honestly, in my experience, I can't keep saying this enough, I have not seen employees really take advantage of the HSA. So I'm hoping that you made it through this first like 20 minutes of this call. And when you talk about open enrollments, that you'll open enrollment this season and this month with your companies, that you will ask these questions like, how do I enroll in my HSA? A lot of companies give you, listen, oh, this is where I get excited. I've worked for companies, and my husband has worked for companies where they literally will give you $5,000 instantly into your SSA or FSA. Like they just give you, infuse money into your account because they're trying to keep the cost down. So on behind the scenes, what's happening is they've picked a different health plan that is a little more expensive to the employee. So what they do is give you a little break by giving you a pot of money in your HSA that can help you cover some of the additional costs, because as you know, every year, like this, one of my clients I support, their health insurance has gone up 11%. So for example, if they know they're going to allow a new plan that's going to be 11% higher, then they'll say, well, let's give them a little, buffer, a little stipend of $5,000 to kind of, what do you call it? To out, there's a word for it, to make the cost not seem as painful. I can't think of the word right now. But yeah, so what my point is, you could be sitting on $5,000 of money that you're using right now to buy maxi pads, Tylenol, Midol, not buying potato chips.
No shit.
Like you could be using that co-payments every time you're going to emergency visits. Emergency room visits are covered with the HSA. Let me tell you a quick story, so quick. Had an HSA, same one that had like the $5,000 in it, that was a gift, right, from the company. And went to Africa, traveled to Africa. My husband got sick while he was in Africa, had to go to the doctor there. I'm like, what type of benefits is going to cover a stay in Africa? Well, long story short, the overall stay came to 1,200 US dollars. That was
Mm.
like a million CFA in their country. So guess what? I used my HSA to pay for my trip that ended up in the hospital to Africa. That $1,200 came right off my HSA. I was scared to death that I would owe like $10,000, $15,000 for going to the hospital. My husband having to go to the hospital in Africa. So that HSA, if you hear nothing else, HSA and FSA, I prefer personally HSAs, because it's portable, it rolls over, it doesn't have a use it or lose it function. And so if you're missing out on this and your company's giving you money, then you are not thinking like a rich person. So I'm done.
No, I agree. HSAs are amazing. They are absolutely amazing. Just remember you do need to actually have a high deductible health plan in order to use it. Because I have talked to people who open HSAs because you can. They're very easy to open. You can do it independently,
Mhm.
but you will get penalized when you go to file your taxes. The IRS is going to say you don't have a high deductible health plan, and they are going to penalize you for it. And so I just wanted to make that clear. But HSAs are absolutely amazing. I love them as well. I have benefited, and I wanted to add, even to what Dr. Thelá said, there's also a level of peace of mind. Because even as a financial consultant, what I see is that healthcare costs, one of the leading causes of bankruptcy are healthcare costs. But then also, what I also see is that people dip into their retirement plans and these other places to cover healthcare costs. But if you have something like an HSA to where you are putting money aside, as I mentioned, it can be invested. Feel free to meet with me if you'd like to get a strategy around how to actually do that. But you have money put aside, it adds that level of security and peace of mind, and it can go towards your future self. So there's so many benefits to an HSA.
I get so excited talking about benefits because, like you said, this is how marginalized people who are struggling and just have dreams and visions to get ahead, you're probably working, I don't care if you're working for Burger King. Most likely, Burger King has an amazing healthcare plan and benefits with all of these bells and whistles. And why? Because they have so many employees. They have this large, what we call in insurance. I'm a licensed insurance broker, just by the way, that you have an applicant pool. And so when you have large pools, you can offer cheaper insurance. So large companies like Burger King, McDonald's, Staples, even though the wages may not be high for entry-level employees, the benefits are amazing. So jump on those benefits to save you money until you can make more wages.
And
Write
it
that
doesn't have to be a
somewhere.
lot. Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I just said write that down somewhere.
Well, yeah, and I want to add to that. It does not have to be a lot. I feel like so
Right.
often we feel like, oh, we need thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Right.
That story I told about me working at the bank, I put in $40. Like literally, I was putting in $40 every time I got paid into my account. You can start where you are. It does build over time. And I always say, if you start now, you're going to have more money in 6 months than if you
Right.
do nothing,
Do
right?
nothing.
And
Yeah.
so there's really no reason not to, right? Do you, oh, I know we're closing. So do your research, choose a plan that actually fits you and your family. Consider budgeting for copays and prescription, and then take advantage of your company's plan. Take
Yeah.
advantage.
Ask the human resources. People ask why I do human resources. This is why, because I want to point people to benefits, point them to like, these are the things that have changed my life. I was able to take care of my children and they had the best doctors, the best care, the best EAP, right? It wasn't because I was making a ton of money. It was because I was with companies that offered these benefits. And yes, companies get on our nerves. We want to quit. We want to have our own business. Take advantage of your company's plan while you're there.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we are at time. I want to close with this, and I'll hand it over to Dr. Thelá. I just want to say, one, thank you for joining. My name is Jasmine Smalls. I am a certified financial planner and a financial consultant. I have started my own financial consulting firm, Jasmine Smalls Consulting, where I do work with individuals who are, I work with a lot of employed individuals who are looking for ways to really optimize their benefits, but also leverage outside resources like personal accounts and personal insurance and those type things. And so if you are interested in having a consultation, you can find me at jasminesmalls.com, and I'd love to meet with you. And I want to add as a closer with this presentation that take advantage of your company's plan. I mean, truly, if you leave with nothing else, you are already working for this company, right? You are giving your energy, you're giving your time. Take advantage of the benefits. I know for me, that was something I always looked at. I wasn't just looking at salary, I was thinking about what is the benefit package. And so if you have any type of benefits, these are truly tools that you can use not only for your health, not only for today, but also to set yourself up for the future.
Beautiful. Well, Jasmine said it all. I am Dr. Thelá Thatch at Thelá Thatch Consulting, and please reach out to me. People, I don't think people believe that I literally give out free information and free advice all day, every day. But as because I know people need help. And so go to at Ask Mrs. HR. It's really simple for me to just answer your question because I've been doing this for 25 years. And if I don't know the answer, I could connect you to the right resource. So visit me. I also have a product called Mrs. HR in a Box, and it's a do-it-yourself HR product for employers and employees if you wanted to just get stronger at HR. And check out my book, The Diversity Dilemma, too. I got it right here. You can see that.
Yes, her book is
Those
amazing.
interested in DEI work, JEDI work, and don't quite understand what's going on in diversity, equity, and inclusion, this is the perfect time. If you're watching now, today, just so you know, is election day. Get your benefits now.
Yeah.
Get your benefits now.
And
That's
go
all
vote.
I have to say. And go vote. Go vote. If you watch this, most likely you may not watch this today. But even if you voted, there's going to always be more things to vote for and get active. And why? Because, and I'm going a little bit over, these benefits have been a part of policy. And I'm not going to get too deep, but you need to pay attention so that these benefits will not be taken away from you in the future years. So get active, read about your benefits, and also understand and know that where your benefits are coming from. Okay, so that's it. That's a political piece, a policy piece I wanted to just say because it is election day, and hopefully you'll see this after election day. We don't know when you'll see it the next time, but when you see it, please reach out to myself, Thelá Thatch, and Jasmine Smalls. Thank you. Signing off.
Signing off. Thank you.